Let persons know I'm only going to be here for 10 to 15 minutes. So what I'd like them to do is send the questions on WhatsApp. All right. So, guys, if you miss this, you can just watch it back because I'm taking some time now to just give you guys some extra direction. So, what's the first question?
Alright. Sandra Bingham is asking, my questions are Jay for the live. Please clarify the meal structure for the green group. That's one. Are we to have food from all the food groups, fat, protein, veggies, and carbs for one meal, or should carbs and fats be interchanged based on when you work out?
Okay.
And on
All
that,
right. Yeah, I can answer that question. So, Miss Bingham, straightforward question, really. For green group, it's 1 meal a day, all macronutrients in one sitting. All right. That group, the macronutrients isn't pulled or moved around in different times. All right. So, does that answer that question in full by Miss Bingham?
she has more to the question.
What's
She's
the
saying
rest of it?
on that note, because different graders are saying different things. Are we to take carbs all on one meal or just on the days you work out?
For the green group, you're to take carbs every day. All right, every day. But we recommend you do something every day. If you on the days you don't do any strength training, you can go for a walk. Right? You go for a walk. Challenge is 40 days of activity as well. So we want to get you to do something every day. All right, to understand the principle that you're earning the right to consume carbohydrates. So, but with the green group, because you're only eating one time a day, um, do not remove the carbs. Just have the portion of carbs that you're supposed to have in that group, in the green group.
Alright, Sandra Bingham again. Based on me and my schedule, all my workouts are in the PM, 6 or after. Am I expected to have my one meal way down in the evening after I work out, or can I eat early in the day and work out after?
That's personal choice, Miss Bingham, on when you work out.
And she's saying if she eats early and works out in the PM, can she have a protein shake after she works out?
No. Every time you feed, every time you add food into the bloodstream, it's classed as a meal. Every time you have a meal, unfortunately, it's no longer. Every time you have a meal, that's classed as a meal. It's a feeding time. You can't have multiple feeding times on OMAD. You literally get one opportunity to eat. Right? So I can speak from experience. When I OMAD, which is what I practically live on most of the times, I have it after. I trade in the mornings, like at about 5, 6 o'clock, but then I don't eat till about 3 o'clock. When I eat at 3 o'clock, that's it. So I hold my fast out in the day. What you can use to hold out is sparkling water and teas. No other meals, not a protein shake. You're just having one meal a day, literally. So you can use teas, right? Or sparkling water to prolong your fast. But you're not allowed to use anything else.
Alright, Denise Hunt is asking, my request are to have more uniformity in the grading and to provide some guidance for those who do not eat meat, fish, and flesh. Thanks.
Alright, so Miss Hunt, for those of you who don't eat flesh, it can be a struggle with this challenge. Why? Because we're naturally going into a calorie deficit, and I mean, when you're going for a deficit, you then start to limit one, the fats, because the fats generally are higher in calories in terms of per gram. Per gram, it's 9 calories per gram for fats, whereas proteins is um, 4 calories, and carbohydrates just the same. So we really focus on the nutrient that we really need for repairing and for longevity, which is the proteins. It doesn't mean the carbs and fats aren't important, but where this is leading me to is a lot of healthy foods carry proteins, carbs, and fats, or protein and carbs. That means they're not lean proteins, and that's the complexity with veganism, because a lot of their foods are complete and balanced, so they come with they're not lean to one sense. If you get proteins, you get a lot of other stuff with it. That's a good thing when we're looking at healthy eating. But you've got to remember, healthy eating constitutes um, weight maintenance. That's what healthy eating is about, maintaining weight. It's very difficult to burn fat on healthy eating. It's almost impossible because the body will adapt. So most people put on weight doing stuff that um, they didn't really plan to do. So the weight gain process is always an unhealthy process too. So the weight loss process is also an unhealthy process. If we were to sit down and eat healthy meals every day, we will not burn fat. Healthy eating does not burn fat. That's 100%. So we're using different methods to burn fat. What can you do? Um, as a vegan, you can rely more upon vegan protein shakes for your lean protein intake, because that's the struggle to get the protein intake into the bloodstream without much of a nutrients in it. That is the struggle, right? So my recommendations is to use the vegan protein, because there's not much other proteins out there. You can bring up we can bring up some protein sources. So just bring up your lean vegan protein for me, and we're just gonna just go through some of the options here.
All right.
Um, so I mean, at the top of the list we have tofu, tempeh. Tempeh has been a popular one. Um, on the previous challenge, persons who were vegan use a lot of tempeh. TEMPEH. Um, tofu also. Um, seitan is another one. Um, and lentils. But as we know, lentils come with a fair amount of carbohydrates as well, right? So the protein powder for me is first. Why? Because it's lean. It doesn't come with anything much else. The almonds comes with a lot of fats, though the fats are good and healthy. As I said, let's not complicate healthy eating with fat loss, because they're two different things. um, I hope that answers your question. I saw you were asking about um, using what is it called? What was it?
Textured vegetable protein.
Right. Textured vegetable protein is processed. Yeah, but protein. Yeah. So guys, I'm back. I think I'm back now. Yeah. The problem with as I was saying, with the TGF is it's highly processed. We're trying to get you in the yellow group to really focus on eating whole foods. Whole foods is what we're trying to get you to eat. Guys, please ask your questions in WhatsApp. Yeah, please. Can you just send what I just downloaded? Can you send that into the group? I just think I downloaded it. Send it in the group. Or you can make sure you download it again. Download it. Don't send the link. Can we get the other question? Because remember, we got a limit here.
All right. Latoya Linton, J. Edwards, you sent us a fat loss chart earlier. So for yellow group, eating 4 meals a day, will we lose fat? That's what she's asking.
All right, so Latoya Linton, burning fat, as I said, is not one shoe fits all. What we've done is categorized you based upon where your current body fat is, right? And I've also looked at fat distribution in your images. Where you store fat has a major correlation with your hormonal balance. So how you're placed in the group looks at that. Now, what we find is then, you may have to look on YouTube. I think some persons have commented there. What you find is then, with the situation with what we doing again right now.
And the yellow group, they're saying they're eating 4 meals a
day. Yellow group, yeah. You're eating whole foods to help correct your metabolism. I covered this on Saturday. You can actually eat more to burn fat. If your metabolism is fried, right, and destroyed, chances are it needs repair. You repair it with whole foods with a good amount of calories. So you can eat more to lose weight. Okay? Weight loss is not just about or fat loss isn't just strictly straight into calorie deficit. There's no point putting a unhealthy person who has not been getting enough fiber and carbohydrates, proteins into their diet on a consistent basis straight into some process that further restricts them. So we start the process with reintroducing whole foods. What some of you will realize is that maybe after eating 2 of the meals, the post-workout and another meal, you'll be fine. But because we don't want to promote health issues, what we suggest to individuals to do is to first continue eating the amount of meals that they have been eating. So if it's 4 meals is fine. You just only allowed 1 carb meal, but then you then come down to 1 fat meal, and then the rest of it is protein and veg and protein. However, when you can reach down to literally 1-2 meals out of in the 8-hour window, 3 meals, 1 post-workout and 2 anytime being the meals that don't carry starch in them, then you'll be fine. So the opening, the gap of 4 meals is starting out with, but as your stomach starts to shrink and as your body starts to get satiated from eating whole foods, that's a very important point too. Satiation doesn't happen very well with ultra processed foods or using ultra processed additives like vegetable oil. It really slows down or prevents the satiating process, so then you end up eating a lot more food.
Alicia Anderson, in the yellow group, can we use a pinch of sea salt?
Yes, in the yellow group you can use sea salt, guys. And you can.
Anne-Marie Curtis is saying she can have 1 plant, therefore she can have 1 plant-based protein shake. She was saying nutrition details of the protein powder. That's what she's saying. It's not really a question.
Yeah, Anne-Marie, once it's lean protein, that's the bottom line, you know. Once it's a protein component with not much carbohydrates and fats, it's classed as a lean protein, right? Like the picture sent, right? The picture looks at the different types of protein. We can't be getting all these other calories, and we're going to touch on, as I said, after the round table coming up, which is in 2 days' time, right? After your round table, we're going to go through weighing and measuring. We're going to have a full lecture series on how to weigh, measure food, and how we then deal with macronutrients. All right, so that lecture is coming up, I believe, on Friday. Saturday. Saturday, I think. Saturday.
Can we eat beans? Is that protein? Latoya Linton.
Yes, Miss Linton, you can eat beans, but as I said, beans aren't a lean protein. Again, beans comes with a lot of carbohydrates and fat, so it's not a lean protein. So you're going to use it as a serving of what? If you're going to use it as a serving of your carbs and you get the additional protein and then you're going to use some of the protein, then fine, right? But you cannot have what we were describing it again. You cannot have these things as a lean protein, beans as your protein source, because it's not lean. It isn't lean. It comes with other macronutrients.
All right. That's all the questions.
Anything more on YouTube?
Double check. What is the ideal body fat percentage for females? Anne-Marie Curtis.
Ideal is relative to what you want. And ideal body fat is also questionable. It's in terms of health. 27% and below is considered not a problem. When you are 27 plus, that's why I had the marker there for persons who potentially are over 27. That's where the problem is. However, it is also individual based, because we look at how the body fat is distributed. That's also another factor. However, if it's causing insulin resistance because it's being stored around the midsection, all this kind of stuff, makes a difference. But generally speaking, and I do not like to be general, because there are so much variables sometimes, I would say 27 for females, 20 for males. For males, I actually put a 20% category for males, but for males, I think the health problem starts at about 14%. In fact, I have some data on this actually. I have some data on it. I have some health data on it. I'm going to send you guys a chart on body fat percentage and how it affects health and what is overweight and what's underweight.
Antoinette Spencer, please give an example. If I eat 2 meals daily, what the meals would comprise of? Yellow group.
Miss Spencer, if you're eating 2 meals daily, you're eating 1 meal 1 on the chart. Send the chart again, please. You literally lay out the food just how the chart lays it out. 1 meal 1, a small piece of starch, a protein, and veg. Your second meal would be like the other part of the chart, which says meal 2 to 4, right? Okay, so your second meal would be just 1, just meal 2 to 4. So yes, that one has both of them on there. Roger? Okay. So the chart allows you to match for yellow group, right? It's a straight match. You pick 1 meal after workout and you pick 1 meal after thing. So an example, a chicken breast, a piece of sweet potato, and some broccoli or some cabbage. All right. The other meal in the day would be some tuna, a piece of raw coconut, and greens again. So some pak choy and cabbage again for locals. You can use broccoli, cauliflower, but on so on. That's just a standard meal structure, and we sent it there again in the group.
Those are all.
Well, I think a lot of you are struggling to really fathom that this is how your body actually prefers for you to eat. Any more things on YouTube? We're gonna shut this down now.
No more questions on YouTube.
All right, guys. And again, first, I should have said this at the start. Please accept my apologies for the misinformation and the confusion, rather. Where there were 2 proteins, 1 carbs, 1 fat. I was for a minute thinking, what the hell are people talking about when they were saying this? But Nadine showed me this morning that it was actually written down, and I did make the annotation, which is separate to what the actual Spry Nutrition Group does on our individual consult. So we have a service where we provide this service on a one-on-one basis, which there's a particular structure that goes. But there's been some changes for this particular challenge compared to the general structure.
Okay, last question. So if Antoinette Spencer, if she eats a 3rd meal, can it include fats?
No, not based upon the updated information. So Ms. Spencer, if you eat a 3rd meal, based upon the update I've given, it shouldn't include fat because you're only allowed 1 portion of fat per day. Right? Based upon the data that we updated. All right, so I let the markers know that as well. Can you let the markers know that, please? All right, just when you go inside, just speak to them. So guys, the markers were marking you based solely on the structure of the Spry Nutrition Yellow Group. However, as I said, I did in the last challenge make a slight annotation, which was to restrict persons from having multiple fats throughout the day and only having one fat. Yeah, one portion of fat.
For the whole day.
Roger?
Roger.
Okay, great. We good on the other parts?
Yeah, we're good on questions.
We're good on in YouTube. We don't want to ignore anyone.
Anne-Marie Curtis, what may she have with the protein powder?
What?
What may she have with the protein powder?
What she should have with
Yeah,
it?
what should she
Protein powder of water. That's it. Nothing else.
Alright. Latoya Linton, she's asking, can you please share more readings on fat loss? She's saying that to Jay.
Okay, I can. I'll share more stuff on fat loss for you guys. All right.
That's big. That's everything. Double check YouTube again.
But I mean, what do you want to know about fat loss? I mean, I can answer some of your questions. Is there anything in specific? The process. I mean, I'll share. What did I say? I'm going to share the video on. Share the link on again.
The body fat.
Right, the body fat data, and I'm going to share another piece of information on fat loss and what happens to the cells. All right. Okay. All right, guys. Thanks for joining. As I said, we're a community. Let's keep going backwards and forwards because it's a learning process. This is not a, strict diet kind of setup. We're trying to say, try this, stick with this, see the results from this, and then we will progress.